What's up, everyone? It's Pneumatics, and I am going to be talking about Wirecast. Wirecast is a streaming or a telestream software that you can use on your PC. People that use this are either streaming games or movies or making content, either for YouTube or for Twitch or for Facebook, wherever. If you're serious about getting into streaming, this is a perfect place to start. There's a bunch of streaming software out there, but this is the best one because it's so bare bones, meaning it requires the least amount of things for it to work. So let's get started. What what is the requirements basically for Wirecast? And boom. All right. So this is basically the requirements that you need for Wirecast to run on your system without issues. So I'm going to go over the minimum requirements and you can see the recommended one, but I'm going to give you the highest option that you can get. So minimum requirements. You're going to need the operating system to be Windows 7, 8, or 10. If you have Windows XP or older, please do yourself a favor and throw that computer out. Get yourself another one. And make sure it has either Windows 7, 8, or 10. If you're cheap, get something with Windows 7. If you have like $10 more, get Windows 10. And if you're running Mac, money is obviously not an issue, so make sure that you're running Sierra or El Capitan. This is the minimum requirements. i5 dual core processor with 2.3 gigahertz. You can run with i3 processor if you have that. Just make sure that the RAM is at least 6 gigs, so that way it can compensate for the lack of processing power. So i5 processor, absolute minimum. If you have anything lower than this, do not use it. 4 gigs of RAM, it is 2019. If you have anything lower than 4 gigs of RAM, please do yourself a favor, go on Amazon and buy a couple sticks of RAM. It's going to cost you like 20-30 bucks, but it's going to make a huge difference in how your computer is going to run. Your hard drive, no hard drive is 2 gigabits. Like there's not 2 gigabytes. So that's just the space it needs inside of your hard drive for it to run. If you have a 2 gigabit hard drive, you're living in 1996, and you need to throw your computer out. Yeah, because I don't even think these computers would even read 2 gigabit hard drives. They would, but anyway, I digress. Integrated graphics card. If you want to know if the graphics card that's already installed on your motherboard can handle it. If you don't know if you have a integrated graphics card or not, if you can see the screen, that means you have an integrated graphics card. You'll be fine. Now, yeah, so it's as long as you can see your screen, you should be fine. What you want to make sure is that DirectX 11 is available. So if you go and Google DirectX download, make sure you can download that because this program does need to run for Wirecast to open. And don't worry about this. This is just saying as long as you have internet connection, it's gonna work. So, boom. All right, now this is the recommended is just one step above from what I was reading on over here, but I'm gonna give you the best setup you can get. Get Windows 10 Pro, not Home. Windows 10 Pro has a lot more options and it's a lot more. It has a lot more features that Windows Home doesn't, especially for configurations and settings. So Windows 10 Pro. If you have Home, I think it's like 70 bucks for you to upgrade to a Pro or even less. If you have a local computer shop, the local computer shop, they can probably get you some like super cheap, like 20 bucks. Mac OS Sierra, no, this is the minimum requirement. You want High Sierra, the absolute minimum, but the best is Mojave, obviously. Um, and this video is being done in the beginning of 2019. Um, so Mojave is the newest one that's out right now. The next one that comes out, just install it. You always want the latest operating system. If you can't download Mojave because it's a MacBook that's older than 2011, then throw it out and buy a new one. You got a MacBook for a reason. That means you got money. That means you can buy another one. Even if you buy a 2012 version, for cheap, just don't get anything that's older than 2011. i7 quad-core processor, 2.8 is the absolute minimum. If I were you, I would get the 3.6 gigahertz or the 4.2 gigahertz. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's very much worth it. If you have the i9 processor, you don't have to worry about anything else I say. You're set. You're set. Just skip over all this part. 16 gigs of RAM is perfect. If you can get it higher, obviously it's going to be better. So if you have the i7 processor with like 24 gigs of RAM, which I have, you're not going to be running into any issues when it comes to RAM. And if you can get 32 gigs of RAM, you'll never have to worry about it again. 64 gigs of RAM, come on, you can run like 7 programs at once with that, if not more. Solid state hard drive, get a terabyte of solid state hard drive. If you have a PC, the minimum you should get is a 256 gig hard drive with at least 2 terabytes of another hard drive, internal hard drive installed. So that way you can save games, or you can save documents, you can save whatever, any heavy stuff. Games you should actually just download onto the solid state drive. Everything else, the other drive. So you have a secondary hard drive to save stuff into. If you have a laptop, just get at least a terabyte of solid state drive and you'll be set. Unless you're a media company or you're doing a lot of media, and you're running a laptop, I would highly recommend getting a PC and then just have a laptop as like a mobile thing. Like if you want to edit, like when you're at Starbucks or something, just do that. But if you just have a regular, a gaming laptop, just put at least a terabyte of solid state drive in there and you'll be fine. Graphics card, if you have a PC and you have all of these that I recommended, then get the NVIDIA GTX 1060 Ti or higher. So the 1080 Ti would be perfect. But if you want to go all out, then get the 2080 Ti. That's going to be probably your best bet to run everything at the best settings possible. So just to recap, because I know I talked a lot and I talked fast. Windows 10 Pro, Mac OS, Mojave, i7, 3.6 gigs or higher, or i9. Please get the i9 if you can. 16 gig, 24 or 32 gigs of RAM, 1,000 gigs or a terabyte of a solid state drive, or if you have a PC, a minimum of 256 gig, but you should really get the 1 terabyte if you can. Get the 1 terabyte of solid state drive plus the secondary hard drive, which is cheaper than a solid state drive. NVIDIA graphics card, if you have a gaming laptop, this will be already installed in there, integrated, so you can't really change it. So make sure when you buy it, make sure you buy a good one that has 1050 Ti, that has 1050 Ti, that has 1050 or has 1060 Ti or has 1080. Whatever you get, make sure it's up there. If you have a PC, 1080 Ti or 2080 Ti, and yeah, and then this is the minimum. But here's the biggest difference. If you're running on these specifications here, you're gonna whatever you're streaming. If you're streaming, like I'm gonna assume that you're here because you want to stream. If you're gonna stream and you have most of this on your computer, well, most of that on your computer, then that computer that you have that has this specifications here, that's gonna be a dedicated streaming PC. What does that mean? That means the PC can do nothing else, absolutely nothing else, besides running Wirecast. That's it. If you have these options here, if your PC currently has more than like most of these are checked off, then you can you can play your game, or you can do whatever you want on the PC and stream on Wirecast at the same time. Um, if you notice, there is a little bit of of a little trial and error that you have to do when you have this, because sometimes the system can be laggy, sometimes it'll hiccup, and you have to know and you have to work around those things. If you see like games really like if you're gaming, games take up a lot, if not all of your resources. And when I say resources, I mean processor or CPU, RAM, so processor, CPU. This is the CPU, RAM, and disk. So your game is utilizing all of this, and it still needs to run Wirecast. Right now, I'm running Wirecast with nothing. Like, I'm not playing a game, I'm not utilizing any resources, and it's using 15 to 25% of my CPU. And when I play a game, it's using 95% of the CPU. And that's with an i7 processor and 24 gigs of RAM with a 250 gig solid state drive. And I believe I have a 1050 with 6 gigs of RAM, of graphics card RAM. Um, so it's pretty up there, and I can't, like, even with my specifications, I still can't play heavy games and stream at the same time. So Fortnite on lower quality, I can play no problem. That's the one that takes like 80 to 90% of my CPU. But as soon as I start playing like Call of Duty or Need for Speed or any other game that requires like heavy graphics or heavy resources, it doesn't run. Like I stream, and on the like I'm playing, but the stream is black. Like you won't see anything. All right, so how am I going to download Wirecast? Well, you go on your browser, go to Google, and you go to Wirecast. Wirecast. Live streaming. Free one. There's a free one. Yeah, so there's a free version for 30 days that you can try, or you can get the pro version. I currently have the pro version, but you can get the free one just for 30 days. If you're starting out, this is the perfect one. If you get serious about it, this is what you want. I currently have the pro, so yeah, you can get that Wirecast. So download it, and then once you download it, they're gonna send you an email, and then when you download it, this is what it's gonna look like. This looks like a lot, but it's not, I swear. How to set up a simple stream. Nothing is configured yet, so I have to go over here, go to output settings, and then where do I want to go? So if I'm streaming, I click where I want to go. I click to YouTube, hit OK. If you click more, I'll show you. If you click more, there are the other streaming options. You can get Facebook Live. You can go to live stream, which is a dedicated live stream platform. Ustream, YouTube, and if you don't, even if there isn't an option here, you can do RTMP server, which means you can get the address, you can get the stream, you can put in the stream key, everything in here. So you can stream to wherever, even if they don't have an option here. This just basically fills everything out for you. So even if you don't have wherever you're streaming isn't listed here, you can use the RTMP server, and you can put the address and the keys and everything in there. That's gonna work. So let's say I want to record. I'm going to teach you how to record. I'm going to teach you how to record videos from your PC. I'm going to teach you how to record directly onto your PC. So output, with Wirecast open, I'm going to go output settings, record to disk, and I'll select MP4 because that is a more universal format of video, and it can be edited into any editing software. MOV, sometimes you have to convert it, and depending on what type of editing software you have, it might not recognize it. So MP4 is more universal, therefore I will use that. Then the encoding or quality that you're going to be downloading to, it gives you all of these options here. So you can default, you can do Twitch, you can do these hitbox things, you can do whatever. You can even, if you select one of these, this is just a setting. Just because I select YouTube doesn't mean it's gonna go into YouTube. It just means that it's gonna use YouTube type settings to record whatever I want to record onto my PC. So if I want to record in 1440, that's what I choose. I should go to, if I can scroll, I go to YouTube, 1440, and that's the kind of quality that I want when I record. If not, I can do 1080p with 30 frame rate. So 1080p is your quality. The number next to it is the frame rate. So I want 1080p, 60 frames per second. Right now, I'm recording in 30 frames per second because that's all I really need. Or you can do a new preset. Okay. So this one is the 2kbr, which is what I did basically because I turned down my bit rate to 2000 instead of 8000 that you normally have to do with 1080p. So if you're a super pro and know the ins and outs of of making videos and what it takes and the frames and the quality that you want, then you can use your own settings. If you want a preset setting like I normally do, you can hit that one, which is the best one. Or if you're streaming to Facebook, Facebook automatically reduces your quality down to 720p. So if you're streaming to Facebook, or if you're gonna record something and you're planning to put it on Facebook, if you put it on anything higher than 720, their systems is automatically going to compress that video. So it's going to be looking worse than if you just did it in 720. It's going to be compressed down to like 480, 480 to 560. So I would highly recommend doing it in 720 if you're going to stream to Facebook. I was streaming to Facebook and I did not like their quality that they were streaming at. I understand there's a lot of videos and stuff going on, but YouTube has a lot more videos going on, and they let me record in 1440. If I had the software, if I had the hardware for it, I would stream in 2K, but since I don't have the hardware for it, I'm streaming it in 1440, which is plenty, trust me. I get very good quality things. Now, when you're going into your file, whenever you want to record it, you want to make sure you know where you're going to be recording it to. So these were earlier downloadings. See how I have multiple hard drives here. That means I have one solid state and multiple other hard disk drives that can handle all this data. So I go to recordings, I put in the name, what I'm doing. Let's say Wirecast setup. Okay, save. And then if you're gonna be doing multiple, like if you don't want to worry about having to make a file name each time, or if you want to take multiple takes and you want to just continue without, having to change the name each time, you can just do auto increments of file names. So like I showed you before, I did the first one, and then the second one is like, Wirecast 1, then Wirecast 2, then Wirecast 3, so on and so forth, until I'm done. Then I can just take the last one and then use that one. So bam, so now it's ready to record onto the disk. If I want to stream, then I do the same thing. Here it allows me to go to like Facebook, right? Where's Facebook? Am I just skimming over it? Facebook Live, yes, I am. So it automatically goes down. So you can go. So basically, how you say this is the name. So I say this is the Facebook Live. Then you want to authenticate, so you want to sign in with your Facebook, and then it's going to say which page you want it. Do you want it on your timeline, or do you want it on one of your specific pages, or do you want to do it in a group? If you're hosting an event, you can do it that way. And then here is where you put your title information. So whatever people want, whatever you want people to read at the top as the headline. You can put that. So I would put like Wirecast testing or whatever, and then the description. You describing your video. You make it public or you make it private just for your friends, and then you press create, and then it'll give you the location. Once this is filled in, and that's how you know that it's ready to go live. If this is not filled in, that means you probably didn't click create, or one of these things is missing. So then you press OK. It's just basically gonna close this, and then when you press stream, it's gonna turn green, and now you're streaming online. So that's basically how you stream and how you record. All right, now we're gonna go and start how to set this all up. So I'm gonna show you how I set up my my stream or my recording for today. How am I gonna do that? Okay. Take a breather. All right. So all right, open this up. You want to start streaming. Let's say you're going to start streaming Fortnite. Okay, start streaming Fortnite on YouTube. So this is basically how it goes. If you do something different, like if you're not streaming on YouTube, you're streaming on Facebook, or if you're streaming on Twitch, or if you're streaming in another platform, just follow the same steps, except instead of signing into YouTube, you sign into your platform. So this is basically how I'm going to get my webcam. I'm going to set up, and I'm going to move myself over here so I don't interrupt you. This is how I'm going to set up my my name, where my camera is, and also set up the game and the audio. So you definitely want to pay attention to this one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off by putting where I want to stream to. So this is the record to disk. Awesome. This right here is going to list everything that you can do. So if I have record to disk and stream, I can record to disk and stream at the same time. You don't have to do one, close this out, open up another one, then go, add a streaming one. No, you just come here, add, and then we want to go to YouTube. Okay, and it should already be in here, but if it's not, then I just say YouTube stream. Okay, destination YouTube. the highest setting available that I know works for me. So this one I've tested and I know it works. So I'm going to put that. I'm going to press authenticate, so that way I can sign in to my YouTube. Do that, and then once I do that, it's going to create an event, and I can open it up onto YouTube, because YouTube has a separate page for when you're live streaming. It gives you the option to edit the name, edit everything, and you'll be set. Edit the description. You can share the link to other places. They'll give you a link to copy, and you can see like the chat everywhere at the same time. So I want to set this up. So what do I gotta do? Here it automatically gives you a new shot, but in case it doesn't, I'll start with a blank clear layer. Okay, so usually I like to start from the middle. I never start from the top, because whatever is on the top is going to be on top of the layer, beneath it. So if I put, let's say, if I put the game here and I put the webcam here, the game is not going to allow my webcam to show because it's on top of it. So yeah, always start in the middle or even in the bottom if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, then usually you start all the way at the bottom and then add your layers as you go. But if you're just starting out, you want to start in the middle and then work your way from there. All right. So capture devices. You can capture. This is just a quick, easy access guide to where it can capture certain things. That this is the easiest one, which I don't really use unless it's like for my webcam and for my microphone, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screen capture, and screen capture 2. Yep, capture everything, capture system audio. I'm not going to click that because it's going to interfere with my other one, but you definitely need to click this, or else it won't. Whenever you're playing a game or whatever you're doing on your computer, it's not gonna capture the audio from it. And then the audio settings, you want it to leave it as default, because whatever you're using for the output as for your game or for your content, it's automatically gonna choose that to get the audio from it. So I can say the name, I can leave the name as is. I just leave the name as is and I press OK. Boom. Now, well, it's showing you like the Matrix into the multiverse. With everything that I'm doing, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah. So basically you have this, but remember, this is your entire screen here. So if you press stream right now and you go see what it is, you're going to see this tiny little screen and the rest of the screen black. So how do you fix this? You go here. See, so this is your layers. So underneath the file, there's the layers. And then there's the configuration, or the properties, as they like to call it. Over here, you have the scale, which is how big this square is. See how it's yellow? Wherever the yellow border is, that's what you're moving over here. That's what you're changing the properties of. So if I go all the way down with it, it's going to decrease it in size. But if I go all the way up with it, it's going to increase it in size, obviously. And then I want it until I don't see any black. If that's horrible. Yeah, that's basically what I want right there. Boom. All right. So then, on top of here, I can add. I wonder if it works. It does work. Wow, my hair is awful. Okay. So while the this is in the back. This is so. I'm just looking at myself. All right. So while you have this up, most of the people that stream either have their, it depends on the game, but it's either on here, right here on this side where I'm making this square, or in this bottom right corner, or in the top right corner. Whatever looks more appealing to the eye, that you're not like in the middle of whatever content you're showing, then you're fine. Um, so I'm going to take myself out of the way. I'm going to decrease myself. I'm going to put myself right there. There's a lot of space like here and here that I don't like. So if I want, I can crop it. From the left. Right there. All right. Okay. I can also make it into weird shapes, like rough or rounded, like rounded the corners into a cloud, into a heart. Oh, so nice. But basically, being right there, I'm set, and I'm fine with that. So now I can stream. What else do you need to know? So I have two screens. If you have one screen, this is basically all you have to do. And then when you press the game is going to be in the background instead of Wirecast. But if you have two screens or more, like I do, then you get the Wirecast screen and you place it here to the left, and that way you have your screen dedicated to the game or whatever content you're showing, and you have the other screen over here showing you basically Wirecast, and just you can do quick edits, you can cut into another scene, you can put a background, you can add stuff, you can remove stuff, you can do whatever. So you can play a game and edit your stream at the same time if you have two or more screens. If you only have one screen, then you can only just really set it up and then start playing, and then hope for the best. So that's that. And then what I also like to add is text. So let's say, when I'm doing my gaming, Maddox Gaming, boom. I like to add that. I leave it as text, not a file. Line wrap, that's fine. Background, none. That's fine. Color, I don't like the color as white, so I change it to white. So I have mine as white, but let's do blue just for the hell of it. So let's do blue. Impact and chart Palatino. Nope. Roman. Nope. Georgia. Yeah, I like Georgia. Okay. Shadow. Okay. Font style. Italic. Yup. Small caps. Yes. So I like the way that looks. I just like the way that looks. That's it. Alright, cool. Now it's going to show up anytime. Okay. Here it is. Nice and tiny. So what do? I come over here, scale it up, and bring it over here. And see the error that I did here. Okay, so I can't have my webcam and this at the same time. Why not? Because I added this shot instead of well, I added an additional shot instead of adding underneath this shot. So I don't need to have it. I don't need to press another shot here. So I come here, delete shot. Over here, under my, because I just want it under my webcam. So as long as my webcam is there, the text will always stay there. So I'm sure that I want to do this. So I just press text. Okay. Now, boom. So now it's not covering it, but I like to have the Logitech up, text beneath it. That way, the text won't cover any part of the webcam. Okay. Wow, my hair is bad right now. I need to do that. Anyways, so I go to here, settings, so that's way too small to read. Maddox Gaming. Boom. Look at that. Now it's official. And then this is just for setting it up. So once you're done setting it up, you go to wherever you want to go. So if you want to record, you record. If you want to stream directly to where you want to stream, you press stream, and boom, you're good. Or are you? Because right now, all you've been doing is setting it up. However, when you press one of these two buttons, it's going to be black. Why? Because we never sent it to the live area. This is just a preview, and this is the live area. So since I don't see what I'm doing here over here, that means, like, since this is not showing up over here, that means this is just a preview and I've never been live, which I've done before. You know, I thought I was already streaming, but then I looked at the stream and it was all black, and I never pressed go. So this basically just means cut and go into live. Now that I'm in live, you know, this is basically what you can see. It's pretty even now. Or this is, you know, what do you get at the live for live. Alright, cool. Or you can just see what's going on live, or you can just do the preview, or you can do both like I'm doing now. But notice how this line here isn't moving. There's no greens, there's no yellows, there's no reds. That means there's no audio coming. These bars right here, these black bars, see how there's a little sound thing right there? That means it's the sound. And this is what's going into your headphones if you're getting a return. So since I'm here in my my Logitech, let me just make sure you don't get feedback. Let me add another shot to my Logitech. So I'm adding stuff to here, to my shot layer, because I want this to go on. Like, if my webcam is showing, I want this to be shown at all times. And so, like, I want this all working together. And then if I don't want something to show, then I just press this right here, and it's going to disappear. But see how it just disappeared from this side and not that side? That means I have to press go, so it'll also make the changes on your live. So back here, I want this back. Boom, it's coming back. All right. So now I want to add audio, because right now all you've been hearing is the stream or the game. And since I haven't been playing the game yet and I've just been talking, that means you guys haven't been hearing anything I've just been saying, and I've just been talking to myself. So I'm like, crap, I gotta start all over. Fine, but how do I make them hear me? You add your microphone. So you know, the microphone from my webcam, or the microphone from my headphones, or whatever line. If you have a dedicated microphone for it, then great, it'll show up here. So I'm going to do the microphone. Boom. So now, see, the louder that I talk, the higher this bar is going to go. However, if I don't like that, then I can reduce myself down to here. And now, even when I'm streaming, it'll be reduced down. And then, obviously, you still can't hear me because I didn't press go yet. So now, you will be able to hear me if this was live, but it's not. So, boom. And that's it. That's basically it. You know, once you have this set up, then you're ready to go. You have your webcam, you have your you have your webcam, you have your microphone, you have your game, you're streaming, you're having a good time. This is the most basic setup you can get. If you guys want to see something specific, like how to add a background, how to add a theme, how to make a border on your webcam, or whatever you see that's going on out there, and you want a tutorial, then just comment below, and I definitely make sure I make one for you guys.